Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. Today you're looking at an interview video. I was very lucky to have a chat on stream with one Unconkable, aka Shaun Rivera, who is the gameplay director of 2XKO. He was very kind to loan me some of his time, and we just kind of did a bit of an open Q&A. Both questions from myself and also the chat that was there live at the time. And we covered quite a bit of topics, and quite a few I think you'll find very interesting in terms of like how characters are decided, lobbies and matchmaking, which I know is definitely a hot button issue as you've seen recently on the channel, and just a lot of topics really. And I gotta very much commend them. They were very open. No topic was off limits. And obviously maybe some certain aspects like, hey, what the new characters are, they couldn't go fully into. But overall, on the right end of things, they were quite open. And basically, we're just going to play out the interview and enjoy. Every now and then I'll roll some B-roll gameplay and you can just watch that as well. Apologies for a lot of drop combos. They changed a lot of Braum combo routes. And I had to relearn all the new combos on the fly. Otherwise, enjoy the interview. Hello? Good day?
Hey, how's it going?
There we go. Okay, it's going great. And I just want to confirm. So this is Lord Unconkable, Shaun Rivera. And I believe your title is you're the director of the 2XKO project. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm the game director. Thanks for having me. I know there's a lot going on today, so I appreciate you taking the time to bring me on.
Today is WrestleMania, but don't worry, because yesterday's WrestleMania night was... You know what? I don't feel as bad for missing WrestleMania tonight after last night. Let's put it that way.
Heard it was peak. It was peak cinema.
See, I'm usually quick with the jokes, man, but like Jey Uso beating Gunn, like why? I don't know. Anyways, all right, okay, people in chat, we can hear beauty, beauty, beauty. All right, so we're doing a little bit of a Q&A. So just to confirm, is there any ground rules?
I mean, like, yeah, this is for me. I'm just like, I want to drop by, and just chat a little bit. That's mainly it, So yeah, ask anything you feel like, and if I can answer it, I'm happy to. I also just happy to get into how we're thinking about stuff as well, because I think that's super, super great to hear.
Okay, well, absolutely then. So the idea is, I did have a couple questions I want to ask, and if it's okay with you, there's a couple, we can pass on some of the questions to the chat a little bit later on, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, then before we get into anything then, is there anything you just want to put out there yourself at the moment? Just as a blanket statement, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I just I want to say I really appreciate all the feedback from folks playing and watching. The entire team does. We had that hour-long dev video, and we had a dev blog afterwards. Kind of talking about what we're trying to get out of this playtest, and we really got what we wanted to out of it. And it's not even over yet, so we're we have a lot of data and feedback to look through. But really, just it's this kind of just like speaks to how we want to build this game together with y'all. And more specifically, it's if you look at like Alpha Lab 1, we had a bunch of gameplay we put in front of you, that we were excited about. Y'all told us what you loved and what you didn't, and we basically like wanted to really take some time and refine that. And so Alpha Lab 2 was a refinement of that first stuff we put in front of you, along with the first time like metagame stuff. Right. So all the around game action, and yeah, we're really excited to get the feedback around that too, so we can begin to refine that.
All right, well, thank you very much. Lord Superstars, thank you very much. You can hold any
interview on the hand.
Subs and all that for the moment. We appreciate it. Thank you, though. Yeah, sorry. And if you just repeat that last sentence there.
Yeah, sorry. What I meant to say was, y'all better be subbing to rooflemonger. Smash that sub button. Get that sub train going. No, I'm just seriously though. Yeah, the last sentence was, if you think about Alpha Lab 1 of us putting like our gameplay in front of y'all, get some great feedback, and then refining it for Alpha Lab 2, that's the same. We're like Alpha Lab 2 is the first time we're putting the meta systems, how you play the game, ranked, our cosmetics, all, battle pass, progression, champ mastery, all this stuff in front of you, and then we'll be refining that moving forward. And that's just how we want to operate as a live game forever. We're putting this amazing stuff in front of you. You're giving us some really great feedback around what you like and what you think could be improved, and we just refine it, continue to refine it.
Okay, well then I guess that sort of leads to one of my first questions. is, you said it's a live game. Obviously, we're doing free to play, all that kind of stuff. And, there was a little consternation of the launch roster. And, you're saying launching with 10 characters. And, that's fine. But as a live service game, obviously the plan is to put more characters in front of people over time. And, you don't got to give specifics, but like as far as like the content pipeline goes, can we respect like a decent pipeline in terms of like characters? Like, is it going to be more than say like 4 a year, like say Street Fighter 6?
Yeah, it's a great question. I won't be able to tell you here's exactly how many champions per year we're releasing. I can say this though, and I believe there was a Q&A session we had for one of our community tour stops we did recently in France. Connor Maker, awesome individual, put the Q&A, some of that into an article on their Video Games 24/7 site. Definitely recommend checking it out.
All right.
Where Tom talked a bit about our philosophy on just wanting to get a bunch of champs out to y'all. I think Tom said like a perfect state would be to have like 24 champs playable. We're not going to have anything near that on launch, but we're actively like working towards quickly getting to that point. And so that means really putting our resources. We have into it. We have a number of champ pods that are all actively working in parallel on a specific champ each. Okay. And champs take a little bit of time to make. I want to remind you all, like we're not a franchise as a fighting game that has existed that we can draw upon animations from previous ones and reuse assets. All these champs are made from scratch, and we really want to make sure that if you're playing a champ, like this is your character and it's deep and it's crunchy and it's satisfying and it's not just powerful as an assist. Like it's a full, complete character. So it does take us a little longer, but we want to quickly get to a much higher number. Because we think that's a pretty good place to be, and we're putting resources into that.
Okay, so 10 at launch, but I like the term there. We're quickly working towards that. All right. And I guess in parallel to that question as well. So I read at the end of last year, y'all committed to, okay, we're launching in 2025. And there was several interviews at the beginning of this year where that was doubled down and committed on 2025. Are you still committing to launching in 2025?
Hell yeah, we're launching in 2025.
All right,
okay. I'm hearing like nothing but love of just let me play the game, let me get in there. And so absolutely, we want to get it out to you, and we will this year.
Okay, excellent. Okay, then actually, I'm going to ask you a question. I get this all the time from the league players. This isn't an FGC question. This is a league player question, but I get it all the time in the comments. Okay. So obviously, when it comes to the various characters of the game, right, like Brahms from Freljord, right, Piltover's on for Jinx and all that kind of stuff. Everyone has a specific region tied to them, right? Shurima, not like whatever it is, right? Are you looking for any like parity in keeping the champs even across the region, or is that something that even enters the concern? You care more about the characters than any specific regions?
See, rooflemonger, I like you. That's a really clever way of being like, let me see if I can figure out who these next 3 champs are. I respect the hustle though, for sure. And I guess the answer to that question is look, we wouldn't have made this game and this IP if we didn't think the IP was sick as hell. And it really is. It's actually the reason I joined Riot. Honestly, like I think we really feel like we can elevate these champions in a way that like no other game can, because it's just so up close and personal. I would say that like parity is not it's not a goal. Like okay. The goal for us is, can we make a champ that delivers for the people that absolutely love it and can offer something really unique and novel to this game. And I know Alex Jaffe, our lead champ designer, has talked about this a lot of times. He's amazing, and with the goal of being, we want to make something for everybody. And what we mean by that is there's a champ out there that you will fall in love with, and it will be your main. And whether it's like thematic resonance, their story, who they are, how they act, what they look like, etc., or mechanical resonance. This gameplay is it for me. Or some combination of the two. And so that's actually our goal here.
Okay, so in a very unspecific term, gameplay over the lore, then.
No, I want to be careful with that phrasing.
Yeah.
You talked about showing up in regions and having parity within regions. Mm-hmm. We're going to go to a region when we have a compelling reason to do so. and have a really compelling champ to deliver to y'all.
Mm.
That's the delta I want to call out.
So then say like a nebulous, like who knows the phrasing here, but like a season 2 is the Shurima season and Renekton, right? The season of Renekton and Shurima characters and skins.
That's a sick idea. Hell yeah.
All
It's
right,
like
leaked.
if you like this stuff, we want to
I love
deliver in a
Renekton.
way that like blows your mind, basically.
Okay, and then actually, not so much, but I guess with the greater world, right? In League of Legends, there are many characters that you would not traditionally ascribe to being what you would think as a fighting game character. Like, let's use Skarner as an example, right? Skarner obviously doesn't fit the traditional mold of a fighting game character. I can think of like maybe one character that's like any kind of analogous to that. That'd be like Blitz Tank in Asatsuki Blitzkampf, right? And
Yeah,
while
yeah.
people love Blitz Tank, he ain't normal. So when it comes to people that are much more different body type, like less humanoid body types, right? Are they in consideration for potential characters in the game?
Yeah, first of all, shouts to Skarner. I see people shouting out in the chat. Skarner was my favorite jungler in season 2 in the ancient days. Just flash pulling someone with the ult into the squad is just amazing.
There you
So
go.
shouts to that. We say this all the time, and it's true. There's no champ that's off the table.
Okay.
Just straight up. Like I want to make that crystal clear. Quote me on that. And let me tell you why. We have a team that I couldn't be more proud of that is insanely talented at coming up with ideas for champs. And I know that if we were to be like, hey, this is the champ, we would get like 10 kits that would be hot fire, out of like a bunch, And so I'm like, I have no doubts in my mind that we could deliver on the fantasy of any champ in this game, and it would be in a way that you would be really satisfied with, and might even blow your mind if you like that champ.
Okay. Then another thing, when it comes to creating a champion and like just thinking about like logistics, because obviously there's a lot that goes into it. Is it important to you that a character serves more of a game? We love the term functions here in the FGC, right? If a
Yeah.
character can fill a good function role versus like just like pure marketability, right? Like obviously a character like Jinx very popular. And say a character like Hecarim, maybe not as much. But if Hecarim could do something that Jinx never could, would that be a consideration like, well, we need this function in the game?
It's a consideration, but it actually goes to the thing I mentioned before. We want to make sure that we are building champs that could be your main champ, right? And so we really want to like start by like adding to the roster in unique and novel ways. And at some point, we'll probably hit a point where it's like I'll just be honest with you. A lot of popular champions in League of Legends for folks that haven't played that might be listening is this role called AD carry, which they're often a range role that plays in bot lane. But do we really want a fighting game where everybody's sitting full screen shooting projectiles at each other because we just have a bunch of those characters in? Probably
I do
not.
notice that
Maybe
Jinx
that's
is
not
like
as
the only character
exciting.
with a proper projectile right now.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I'll say it another way. We also have like in League of Legends, a lot of popular characters have a bunch of CC or knockup or boomerang style attacks for wave clearing, and so we have to be really careful how we translate that to a fighting game. So it's really interesting. And so, yes, there are popular characters that plays a part, but also like what they can do and what we really feel like we can elevate mechanically plays a huge part as well. I always like to use like we can use Jinx as an example right here, where like Jinx shoots a lot of projectiles. She can definitely jump back, Skybones, keep you away. But she does have a rocket jump. She's got a zap. She's got reasons to go in. So we do want to have like some mechanical variety in these characters, even if historically they're known for shooting projectiles and keeping you away.
Okay. Okay. Now, okay. Actually, you know what? Okay, this can pretty much be a yes or no. But it's been a hot button issue in recent times. So, would 2XKO ever entertain guest characters?
Yeah, we get asked this one a lot too. The answer is not right now, and it's got to be not right now because there are so many people that are clamoring for their favorite champion to appear, and I often get questions of why not champ X or Y? You're crazy for not having that champion right now before this other one. It's because there's just so much hot fire to put in. We there's
Yeah.
just a lot of
There's a pretty big roster in the league,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. There's just a lot of really really popular champs that also y'all don't let us forget, this is perfect for a fighting game. It's made for a fighting game. It deserves to be in a fighting game. So anytime like we would deviate for something like that with, say, like a guest or even our own champ, brand new champ, all those players would be let down. So I think it kind of goes to your earlier question of, how many champs you all shooting for eventually, and the idea of us wanting to get a lot of these league champs into the game, and then assessing things in the future. And if the desire is strong enough, we could have that discussion.
Okay. I will point to the fact you said one of the characters perfect for the game. I do remember this is some years ago now, but when y'all announced Samira, and I'm like, oh, they're making a fighting game. That's the only reason Samira exists. Because just fighting game guy talking, Samira would be perfect for a fighting game.
Wait, is this a question?
No, not a question, just a statement. I'm just saying, the day it happens, I can say I was right. You don't got to say anything about that.
Yeah, it's the yeah. There's a lot of love for so many champions. Samir is definitely one of them that we get a lot. And internally, we got a lot of Devil May Cry fans on the team as well. Our audio.
You think a Devil May Cry character
director
could ever work in a fighting game? That's crazy.
Look, yeah, all I'm saying is, yeah, our audio director Eugene is like the biggest Devil May Cry fan as well. And no, I'll just say that like that style of fighting, is pretty prevalent across a bunch of combat games. It's prevalent for a reason, right?
Yes. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now another one here. This is a recent issue we got to talk about here, given the most recent Alpha Lab 2, right? Myself, kind of ran into some issues, and other people are also, discussing the matter. So we had the lobby system, and lobby system in the previous Alpha Lab. We had it, and we ranked up, and that was all fine. And I like the little things like you see people on fire when they're on a hot streak. That's great. But myself and some others had some contentious issue with the fact that in this Alpha Lab specifically, can't speak for anything other time, when we want to play in ranked, we were also forced into the lobby. Is there any designs or plans for more traditional ranked matchmaking in the game?
Yeah, another great question. So I want to talk a little bit about Alpha Lab 2 at a high level, and then drill into your question if you'll permit.
Okay,
So,
absolutely.
uh, so we do think a lot of the magic of fighting games is feeling that other human on the other side. And our lobbies help get at some of that, but we also hear you all loud and clear. Where you're like, I just want to jam matches, and if the tension of the former gets too much in the way of the latter, it's something that we want to address. I want to talk a little bit specifically then about game development, and I promise I'll get to your question.
No, absolutely. Like more elaboration, better.
Yeah. So for folks that like haven't worked in game development, a lot of times you're working on things well in advance of when they're released to players. And that's been the case with our lobby system. We've been working on it for quite a long time. Just lobbies in general, they've went through many iterations. However, one piece of the lobby system we've been working on that I've heard y'all recommend is called cross lobby matchmaking. And so we've heard people say like, yo, keep the lobby system, but let me just hit a button in the ranked lobby and maybe have a chance to fight against people in other lobbies if there's nobody to fight immediately in this current one. And that's in service of like, if you want to keep this, just let me jam matches quickly. That's something we're working on and something that you'll see in the next play test. And so, keep the feedback coming because again, Alpha Lab 2 is still live. And we understand the sentiment, the strong sentiment of just let me jam matches, like, hey, I just want to keep playing. I want to grind. Let me get in there. And so, yeah, that's something we're actively looking at, and we've been working on for a little bit.
From my
It just didn't
perspective,
make it in this playtest.
yeah, from my perspective, like I am very much that like 3 a.m. ranked grind guy, right? So I'm a just let me jam my matches kind of guy. So that's where I'm coming from it. So like the frustrations I personally had with the lobby and the ranked, like being in ranked and in the lobby, that was my issue then. So then on that note, would we be able to access training mode while in the lobby while in ranked?
That's another great question. It depends how quickly we can feed you matches. So, we definitely like, hell, I've definitely played like in a lot of games where, hey, I'm sitting in training mode for a while and I'm getting variable matches. Like it takes a long time, or like, hey, I get them very quickly and I can't actually hit a button here, and so I'll say that that's something that we could look at, but it makes less sense to constantly be like putting you into champ select and you're getting a match before you even actually get into training mode and things like that. So we want to make sure that it's worth your time if we would look at something like that.
All right.
So the answer is like,
Oh,
let us know, and you'll see like in the next iteration how quickly you get matches, and if it's something you still want to see, like something we could consider for sure.
okay, then are you elaborating on the fact then that matchmaking speed is the priority then in the end?
Yeah, because ultimately, like a lot of the reason that the training mode exists in modern times is because you're not sure when you're going to get a match, or maybe you want to practice something in the middle and pause your queue. But if you're there to get matches and we're giving you matches quickly, um, do you even have time to train? That's actually what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what does the future look like, and can
Okay.
we get there? And and we'll adjust and refine, as we learn more.
Okay, fair enough. Well, thank you very much for the answer on that. Then that's the end of my prepared questions. So we'll open up to the chat. Chat, if you got some questions here, make them good. Don't make them dumb. Um, we'll go from there. And also, I just want to circle back. So he said no guest characters for now, which is perfectly fair. So year 2 or 3 will be Terry Bogard, guys. Don't worry, just not at launch.
Yeah, we're definitely not focused on that for now. There's just too many amazing league champs to
Exactly.
put
Thank
in.
you for
But
confirming.
we're
No Terry
excited again.
Bogard for now. Thank you. Official confirmation. All right. Oh, there we go. Lord Mithriz asks, do we have to pay for champions online?
Can you clarify what you mean by pay for champs?
I'm assuming they mean
I'll
past the
give
base roster. If like other additional characters, will you have to purchase them?
yeah. So any champ in our game you'll be able to earn through through the earnable currency just by playing the game. You could fast track that if you want, but you could earn it, and don't forget like champs will all be playable in training mode, so you can decide like, hey, who do I want to go after? Who do I like? Who do I not like? And so we thought that it was pretty critical to do it like that. It can be it you know it can be something though to say that like, yeah, having a goal of grinding and getting that champ unlocked can be pretty satisfying, but we do want to start in that state.
Okay, so then you can play everyone in training mode for free without having to unlock them, and everyone is unlockable for free with the free currency that you earn.
That's correct.
Okay, excellent then. Lord Fuzzied Feeling, well, to elaborate on the question then, basically, you said there will be another Alpha Lab in the future. Is that some time frame roughly you could give?
I can. I'll just say that we'll talk about it soon. Soon, TM. Right. You will get some information. Not right now though. Not from me. But there will be a larger scale playtest that we'll have.
Okay.
Where you'll see like some of the stuff I talked about and some of the refinement from the around game systems, including some of the gameplay feedback we're seeing already in the next iteration.
Okay, and 2 Amos 2 adds to that. Will there be more regions in the next Alpha Lab?
Yeah, there'll be more than this one.
Okay, excellent. There we go. We have Zook Foodie. Will there be combo trials at launch?
Sorry, real quick. I want to underscore like one thing.
Okay, absolutely, yes.
Like, I just want to like be really empathetic for a second, right? A ton of y'all have been like, "Hey, I was in the region for Alpha Lab 1, but I didn't get in." And now Alpha Lab 2 comes and my region's not in, or my region has never been in. That sucks, right? Straight up, right? However, like we do need to test the things that we need to test to get the game out to y'all this year. And so I just want to be empathetic for a second and pause there and be like, "Hey, I feel you. That's rough." And so the next one will have more regions in it.
Okay, excellent. Then yeah, I definitely seen some concerns that like I got to play the last time and I didn't get to play this time, especially because seemingly we have a smaller player base this time.
Absolutely.
Sorry, just looking through here. So okay, here's a good one. This is from Lord Ghoulish Vidi. Hopefully I said that right. Or Ghoulish Divide. There we go. So obviously we are aiming for a console launch as well as PC. Will the Switch 2 be a part of that at some point?
Sorry, say that one more time. It kind of cut out for a second.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So we're aiming, obviously, PC launch, a PlayStation, like I'm playing on PlayStation right now. But will the Switch 2 ever be in the contention for a console launch for 2X
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that one right now. Right now, we're only focused on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC.
All right. But you're not ruling it out?
I don't have an answer.
Okay, fair. Okay, fair,
That's
fair
not
enough.
our
Fair enough.
focus right
Okay,
now.
that's probably too far in the future,
Yeah.
but especially when Nintendo acting the way they've been acting lately, right? All right. This is from Lord B Nasty 21, and they say you do not have to answer in specifics, but do you have a clear post-launch plan when it comes to cosmetics and characters, as far as like the pipeline goes?
A clear launch plan when it comes to cosmetic and
Like
characters as
post-launch
far as the
pipeline for
pipeline goes.
release of just content in general.
The answer is hell yeah. The disappointing answer is nothing I can share with you
Yeah.
in this immediate moment. But again, for folks just tuning in, it goes to my one of the piece of context I laid out earlier, where in game dev, a lot of things have a pretty long pole, and so there are a lot of champions we're playing internally that y'all haven't seen yet. There are a lot of cosmetics, as y'all are seeing some of them, in Alpha Lab 2 that we're working on, well ahead of things. So we absolutely have a pretty exciting plan for y'all, and I can't wait for you to get a taste.
All right, and I think I saw something right there. Just a bit of a follow up. When it's time to make get the wheels rolling on everything, right? Would you be publishing any kind of roadmaps so people know what the content is coming up for some months in advance?
I think so. Our publishing team might kill me for saying this, but I do think that having some kind of high level roadmap is pretty important,
All right.
and it's something that inspires confidence. How detailed that thing would be, is I think something that we would probably want to look at internally. But yeah, I typically like seeing like a roadmap. Hey, this is what this year is about. This is what you can look forward to. Here's some exciting beats. But also, I think like keeping some things secret and delightful and exciting is pretty critical as well. So finding the right level of zoom, but I think doing something like that would be pretty cool.
Okay, excellent. Next question here, Lord Lycan 072. Are you thinking of doing any team up supers for specific duos of characters? My example would be like Winter Soldier and Captain America in Marvel Infinite. They had a special super, right? So is there any kind of specific tag supers that could ever be on the table?
I think that's something we want to look at. One of the challenges is the cost of doing that versus doing something else. Um, if I recall, like I actually recall that one, and it was a super hype moment, but I think it was the only one of its kind as well. In
Hmm.
there, I think like we've had this discussion because I think when it comes to how two champions interact and play together, it's one of the draws of team games. And whenever you can create like a more bespoke moment, it actually is pretty hype and exciting. So we definitely had discussions in the past of, hey, how can we get at this? Whether it's on the scale of like an ultimate, a unique ultimate, versus something that's maybe in the middle a little bit, where two champions do something bespoke together.
Okay.
You can imagine any number of mechanical things they could do together if they're thematically linked in some way.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Next one here from Salt Lady. Specifically, they had some difficulty getting their specific friends into the same casual lobby. I know there is private lobbies, but if they have same friends and they want them in a casual lobby, is there any way to invite friends into a public lobby, or in the future, anyways?
So just inviting a bunch of friends into what we call like a match made lobby, like a casual ranked lobby, is not something you could do. You can invite them to a partnership, basically like your duo, like hey, let's duo together, and then it will try to find a lobby that's suitable for the combined or average skill level for those people in casual, or the max ranked, max skilled player in ranked lobby. That's about the extent because we let you invite a bunch of people in there. Now all of a sudden the quality of matches in that lobby is at risk. Especially in a casual lobby, in ranked lobby. So for now, I would say like everybody head to the private lobby. But if you want to like invite somebody, invite them to a duo, and you could play together and go check out a lobby. Those would be the two options.
Okay, fair enough. Icarus the Wolf asks, and I think I already know the answer to this one because we're doubling down on launching this year. Will 2XKO be ready for Evo 2026?
2XK will be ready for Evo
Evo next year.
2026. Evo next year. I can't comment on that yet.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All
Great
right.
question.
Sorry.
Oh, I just said great question though.
Oh, okay, okay. So I don't look forward to whatever's happening there. We don't know yet. Apocalyptic Fart. Get a better name, buddy. Will 2XKO ever have motion inputs?
I would say right now that's not a focus for us. Like the game is really designed around us wanting it to work on a number of peripherals, like you name it, like, keyboard, leverless, etc. And wanted to just people be able to get to the fun pretty quickly. I could do these specials like right out the gate. Um, that's not to say like we wouldn't look at maybe a specific champion, taking advantage of something a bit more akin to that. But for now, that's not something we're looking at.
Hey, okay, Apocalypse Fart. Okay, you're just, I don't know. Don't put fart in your name. You can do a little bit better. I don't know. He's posting in chat. Lord, and hopefully I pronounced this correctly. Kappa Seti. So kind of following up with Evil then, are you going to be more focused on community tournaments or more Riot specific tournament events?
Yeah, I'll channel a little bit of some internal combos here. The goal has always been to lift up the community. That's it. I know that sounds like counterintuitive to how some other Riot games are with these really robust leagues, but for us, like the beginning is just going to be like working with TOs, working with communities, and understanding like what they need to be successful, and really trying to work together in that sense, and then seeing where it goes from there.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. And then okay.
Sorry, real quick. I just
yeah.
want to expand a bit more on that. Like, there's always a sentiment of like, oh, is Riot trying to come in and take over? The answer is no. We're a lot of us, myself included, have been playing fighting games since their inception, and so we know how important the FGC is, and that's why it's important to work with like POs and people that have, frankly, been like holding up this grassroots scene with their own efforts for so long.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so you're not here to big league the small tournaments, basically.
Not at all. It's
right.
actually to help uplift them. They've been doing the heavy lifting so far, and we want to celebrate that.
Okay, we got one here. Highlighting Lord Ronald Player One. So the Alpha Lab obviously not over just yet here. Is there any specific feedback you're noticing from this specific Alpha Lab that you're looking at and like, okay, this needs to change one way or another?
That's a pretty broad question. I'll say that
there's obviously, like myself, I had the lobby concerns. Some people are saying the game's too defensive now. I don't know if that's true or not. But like, is there anything you saw and your people are like, oh, that might be something we got to look at?
Yeah, I could talk about a couple things. I mean, there's like some of the obvious stuff that we absolutely want to look at. That's pretty major and painful. Some of the peripheral concerns, as well as crashes and some of the bugs that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all things we're going to be looking at. I would say like outside of that, like talking about gameplay and how we had the game out for folks in Alpha Lab 1 and we refined it for Alpha Lab 2. I think some of the things we're happy with is generally like having more defensive like scenarios that occur, as well as like some of the neutral and defensive play that we're seeing. Less so like, just to be clear, like our game is not trying to be, I knock you down and then we just lock you up into a vortex and then you die.
Yeah,
that's not the game we're making.
Sorry, I'm going to interject. Personally, the fact that there's tech rolls and all that now, and I'm not necessarily eating death mix mid-screen off a baby knockdown, I'm perfectly okay with that. So like, not everyone's complaining about the defense thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say though that like I've gotten a lot of positive feedback about the more focus on neutral and the more focus on defense and when you use those defensive tools. We'll say though that like your offense still needs to feel really good, and we do think we're refining to a lot more of an ideal place that we're excited about, and that y'all are as well. I do think there's still more work to be done though. So for example, with our speaking a little bit out of turn here, but some of the observations I've seen is there's a bit more timeouts than we probably want. Some of the gray health regen is probably contributing to that. Probably some of the backwards movement being like too strong, as well as I would say like the fury break system, allowing for getting you a bit more like fury meter, and probably allowing for too many more breaks like on average throughout a round. I think all those things are contributing, and I expect us to be looking at those things. I will say though, again, just like I mentioned before, game dev like timelines are pretty interesting, and some of those things we've actually already addressed ahead of the game, which is pretty exciting.
Okay, and yeah, just got the notes here. We're gonna be wrapping up shortly. I'll say I definitely had some timeouts, although I had less timeouts than the last Alpha Lab, so take that for what you will. Although obviously, unless like you're doing like the old Street Fighter 4 Honda versus Balrog, timeouts are not ideal in general. So they should be rarer, right? Um, okay, so we'll get a couple more questions in here. Just one moment. Oh, we already sort of answered that one. Now, actually, I got one personally here. So we're going to go to champs like this so I can talk about while seeing it here. So obviously, fuses are a very big part of the game, right? And we added the new fuses, Sidekick and Juggernaut, which add a very wildly different gameplay from what we've had currently, we know, with the more standard, I guess, if you want to call them, fuses. And especially, I do like that Sidekick kind of, not one-to-one, obviously, but emulates League of Legends to a degree, as if you are playing with duos, you basically, one person gets to be quote-unquote support, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I do know you guys have already stated that you're looking for to add more fuses in time, like no timeline on that specifically. But when it comes to adding more fuses, are you just looking for like more like just gameplay tweaks, or are you looking to like radically redesign how the game itself could be played?
This, yes, yes is the answer. Uh, when we first came up with this system, one of the things I asked the team to do was to brainstorm uh, any kind of fuses they could think about, and we actually looked at that list kind of recently, and it has got some of the most insane stuff on it that I would be beyond excited to get into the game. Uh, I don't want to actually don't want to spoil it in case any of it does make it in or variants make it in, but yeah, the idea is like these things, change how you play the game. Of course, how these champs play together. Some will be a bit more extreme than others, but we're excited about them because we can slot them in and out over time. One of the things that we are potentially looking at is, hey, like, what if there's just like a fuse that is limited time? Hey, and then it goes away, and then if people like it, we see if like, hey, do we keep it longer? Do we keep it as a permanent part of the game? Can we bring some back at some point? We're pretty excited about the potential the system offers, as well as like how much player expression it allows, and like basically game to game variety. We do recognize there's like anything, there's a limit on complexity, so we need to be careful that there's not too much going on,
Okay.
and it's not changing the game too much as well. I would say to start, we want to keep our fuses relatively like aligned with the systems that exist in the game, just so folks can onboard and understand things. But I would expect over time you start to see like a bit more variety.
All right, I see some people in the chat then mentioning it. So the opportunity then exists for seasonal fuses.
Potentially, yeah.
All right. And now, adding that, can we double down? We have a Christmas fuse.
I mean, you tell me what it does, we'll get it in there.
I don't know, like, you know what? Here we go. Christmas fuse. These become presents. There we go. Done. Like all the Jinx little summons become presents. That's what I got. Actually, you know what? So adding that, even though this is more of a joke, but I gotta ask it, right? Since we have the fuses that kind of add like the support role, like League of Legends, right? A character or even a player in duos who isn't want to be as engaged in the fighting game part of things, they can do it as support and help out with the assists and all that, right? And since we have a fuse that somewhat emulates the role of support in League of Legends, is there fuses that could emulate other roles, like say jungler? We have a jungler fuse.
I feel like the sky's the limit. I feel like I would actually ask the broader question of what is the craziest thing a fuse could do?
Oh, I already got it for you. Like I'll give you a free idea. You could take it all the way to the bank. Jungler fuse, proper jungle ambush. You invade other people's matches. You join up Street Fighter Alpha 3 dynamic match style, and you're a third character in the match. There you go. Done.
I mean, that's the stuff that gets me excited, right? Like, and just it's mostly about the potential of the system, right? There's just a lot of things we could do with it. I'm actually excited to get a lot of these new fuses to y'all in the future. That the team has brainstormed. I legitimately think your minds will be blown at some of these, and you'd be like, wow, I can't believe they did that. Yet this fits with the game in a pretty clean way.
Okay. Then, okay, and we have one here, Delusa Magnus Farm. Would have motion input fuse ever be something that could be entertained then?
I mean, like I said before, like motion inputs, it's not something we're focused on right now.
Fair enough, fair enough.
But again, for fuses, like, it could be any number of things.
Okay, well here, we got one from Lord B. Nasty. So in terms of Riot and commitment to the FGC and just fighting games in general, right? Obviously, we're a very different community than like shooters and MOBAs, obviously, in terms of size and kind of what we want, right? So are y'all in here for the long haul?
Yeah, absolutely, without question. I mean, I think the FGC is something special. We're making this game for the FGC, right? That's it. And so, yeah, we're absolutely committed to it. I mean, for me, it's actually it's being beyond a dream to be able to work on something like this. But I just want to underscore us us getting the game out the door to y'all this year is just the start of that journey. When I talk about putting stuff in front of you, getting your feedback, refining it, we talk about that stuff. We really mean it. It's going to be like the cadence that we work in forever, as we keep this thing going. So absolutely, but you got to keep the feedback coming, right? And that's what will really help us, continue to move things forward in a great way for everyone.
All right, so then just to elaborate with a conversation I had with I think it was Alex when we were there at the campus some years ago now, right? So the idea is, you're here year one, you're here year two, but you're also here year five.
Yeah, why not year 10?
Okay.
Like what, like, I think, the fighting games have been like pretty niche, right? But they're more exciting than almost anything. And I think
that's why I'm here, man.
There's probably a lot of people. There's probably a lot. I mean, that's what we're feeling, right? Like, there's probably a lot of people out there that haven't experienced why they're so exciting. And I think building a game for the FGC to start and really getting it right with everybody will just show everybody else why it's so cool.
All right, that's excellent. Then I like the commitment because sometimes we don't get it right, and sometimes obviously things happen. But I like to hear the commitment. That's fantastic. All right.
Hey, let's go. We got this. I just remember. I remember way back, like when you visited us and you were taking notes.
I filled that notebook you gave me.
Super deep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. Y'all like, for folks listening and watching, rooflemonger was going deep on the notes when he was at Riot way back, and I was like, I respect this. This dude's gonna be a monster when he gets in.
Maybe one day I can talk about all the pages I took.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there this year, I guess.
Oh, GG's, man. That was fun. I appreciate you taking the time to get some games.
Hey, well, sincerely, thank you very much for the time and the opportunity here. I know everyone watching is having a good time too. It's okay. If you want a little inside baseball here, it's nice when the developers talk to the community. Maybe y'all should make that a habit, right? Communication,
I mean, look,
is something we don't get a lot of with a lot of certain games on the market right now. So, if you want to keep that up, people will be very appreciative. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's something that's something that hits really close to home for me. Personally, like playing all these games growing up, and just even recently, I'm just like, well, I'd love to know how they're thinking or why they did a thing.
Hey, well, you got to feel some manner of vindication, right? Given recent Tekken talk, and many people are like, you know what, maybe we judge Tekken Tag too harshly.
Yeah, I definitely what's the way to put this? I'm pretty poor at communication myself. I think it's really hard, right? I think it's like super hard. So I respect anybody that can get out there and try to talk with folks and hear like legitimate concerns backed by a ton of passion. It's just really difficult. I'm trying to get better at it myself, but that will never scare me away from talking with y'all. And so, I really appreciate y'all being just like candid, open, and giving us some great feedback. And I feel like we've learned exactly the types of things we hope for from this test. So it's not even over, but please keep it coming. And thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
And there you have it. That's the interview. Once again, thank you very much to Shaun Rivera, Unconkable, for his time. He was very candid, very open. No questions were off the table. And I think he did a very good job answering everything he could, he's allowed to talk about. So it was very appreciated. So big takeaways. Hey, There'll be more Alpha Labs. It is coming out this year. They've tripled down on that. And 2XKO is going to be here for a very long time to come with a lot of content in the pipeline. So they're always listening. They're always adjusting. So, make your voices heard. They are listening. And that said, my friends, that is the interview. So, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some 2XKO.